Good afternoon. Welcome to the Calexico City Council, Calexico Redevelopment Successor Agency, Calexico Financing Authority Special Meeting Agenda. Today's date is Tuesday, June 21st, 2022. It is 2:05, and I will call to order. And roll call. Javier Moreno, Mayor, here. Mayor Pro Tem Camilo Garcia.
Here.
Council Member Ureña.
Not here.
No, absent. Council Member Gloria Romo.
Here.
And Council Member Rosia Arreola Fernandez.
Here.
Thank you. We have a quorum. Due to the declaration of emergency, this meeting is being held pursuant to AB 361, approved by Governor of California on September 16, 2021, and some or all of City Council members may participate in this meeting by teleconference. Pursuant to Imperial County Public Health Department policy guidelines, City Council meetings are now open for public attendance at 100% capacity of council chambers. Public participation will continue to be available in the following ways. Members of the public are encouraged to watch the meeting via live stream at http://communityspectrum.org live at 2 p.m. or via the Calexico City Hall Facebook page at www.facebook.com, City of Calexico, CA. Members of the public will be able to make public comments in the following ways. In-person comments, submit public comments via email by 11 a.m. on Tuesday, June 21st, 2022 to our city clerk at email address ggarcia@calexico.ca.gov or via fax at 760-768-2103. You may also make public comments via Zoom from a PC, Mac, iPad, iPhone, or Android device. The number to call is 1-666-900-6833. The webinar ID number is 849-5727-5135, and the passcode is 614333. Please stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please stand, remove your head covers. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Have a seat. Next item is the approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Romo, second by Mr. Garcia. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Motion carried. Public comments and public appearances not to exceed 3 minutes. This is the time for the public to address the City Council on special agenda items only. The mayor will recognize you, and when you come to the microphone, please state your name and place of residence for the record. While members of the public are encouraged to participate, it is unlawful to disturb or delay the council meeting with personal or slanderous remarks. The City Council is prohibited by state law from taking action or discussing items not included on the printed agenda. Please direct your questions and comments to the City Council. I do have one public comment, and I believe we have 3 online. Okay, let's go to the online first.
Public comment from Maria Alarcón, writing today in support of the library to go before the council. She wants to give all her support and also present for future funding that she needs for the coming year for the library. She says, we all know how important the library is and all the activities they do. She wants to thank for all your help, and she is a library board member. This is from Angelica Angulo, and she says, I want to make a note that having a budget for the library is of crucial importance to fund library services and let it grow to continue supporting Calexico community. Lizette has made great contributions, and with your support, it will be possible to continue supporting the community, but to a greater extent. This message is from Kristen Holmes. My name is Kristen. I have experienced the impact of your library all the way in Richmond, Virginia. I discovered Camarena Library in 2020 through its virtual programming and have attended with my toddler ever since. I have been beyond impressed with the quality of programs and resources at Camarena Library. Lisette Legaspi has made the library a community hub for resources, change, and personal and community growth. It is a place of advocacy and belonging. There is programming for babies up to seniors and even a special time catering to the social and sensory needs of autistic youth. If the Camarena Library team can do all this now, you will surely be amazed with what you will see if you invest more for the future of your community. During the past 2 years, Lisette and the Camarena Library team have taught families so much. The link between physical fitness and mental health through virtual story time and partnerships with Coach Jamie at the Calexico Ret Center. They got the blood pumping and endorphins flowing in the time of crisis when we needed more than anything was connection and love. They gave us both in abundance. Coach Jamie and Lisette taught to us to make our own fun affordably at home and the importance of moving and celebrating even though things were tough. Lisette taught children the importance of hand washing and wearing masks. She gave them a safe space to talk virtually about the changes they were facing. Trick-or-treat safety with the Calexico Police Department, mental health awareness, coping strategies, local resources, and safe place to share thoughts through virtual events, patience, acceptance, determination, and a lifelong love of learning by Lisette's own example and through the wonderful collection of books and programming. The power of presentation in books in the vote, or simply in being seen and valued. ESL and citizenship classes, conversation practice groups, grants Lisette has produced to expand the collection of multicultural books for kids representing of so many different cultures in storytime, Black, Hispanic, Southeast Asian, East Asian, and more. How kids can harness the power of kindness, the need to advocate for equality and empower others, even children, to advocate for themselves. Lisette has taught children to embrace their feelings, to give and accept help, to strive for greatness, to have empathy for others, to help if friends are facing abuse, to never think of their skin color or upbringing, the languages they speak or don't, or never to think even immigration status are their destiny. In doing so, she taught us parents as well. You have yet to witness the full impact of the work Camarena Library in these 2 years alone. The impact will continue to be seen for decades to come when these little people will be adults reflecting on lessons learned and books read, events held, the experiences shared, and the examples seen now. They will have been inspired by people who look like them in stories, fictional and factual, so they can be the changes they wish to see. These are the seeds of change that produce thriving communities.
Good, thank you. And now we have public speaker, Alicia Cruz. The microphone, yes.
Hi, my name is Alicia Cruz. I'm from Westmoreland and speaking on behalf of the library. This is my niece over here. We, during COVID, the bulk of the COVID, we were able to go to virtual story time when we didn't realize Brawley Library wasn't open. Westmoreland Library has been closed for years, and our city council didn't bother fighting to keep it there. So we really appreciate your support that you're giving our library, because my niece in Brawley, we started out with her at virtual story time. Now next week we'll be adding our 9th member to our little story group that comes from Brawley, Westmoreland, Calapat, and we come all the way a 45-minute drive here to participate. So we've done Halloween, Christmas, Day of the Child. We're participating in the summer reading program, and it's amazing because with our little kids starting, now their parents are starting to come to the library and get library cards and actually seeing and participating in the bilingual programs. And our kids are a mixed bag, and so they're able to participate. She's learned how to sing Itsy Bitsy Spider in English and Spanish. So there's that. And so we just wanted to come here and tell you guys how much we appreciate you guys supporting the library. Even though we're not part of this Calexico community, we're part of the larger Imperial Valley community, and we reap the benefits of your support. And so we just wanted to let you know we appreciate that.
Thank you. Our next item are discussion items. We have a total of 8 presentations. We are going to start with the police department.
Mayor,
Yes.
their presentation?
Huh?
How
So we have a total of 8. We're going to give you, well, I'm going to give you 10 minutes. That should be enough. 10 minutes, yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Well, this is the budget proposal for the Calexico Police Department. Let me give you a little background, and this is going to apply for all departments of the city of Calexico. So, as you might know, we border the city of Mexicali, a city of approximately 1.03 million people in population. However, so as you might know, there's 1.03 million people in the city of Mexicali. In any day, we have a commuting population that comes to Calexico. So according to the CBP, the most recent numbers that I was obtained, about 10,000 people came across walking, 13,000 vehicles came across, and approximately 24,000 people in each vehicle. So our current population is approximately 39,841. I heard it was 43, but depending for 39 and 43 is still about approximately 40,000. So on every day, the Calexico department serves about 74,000 people. 30,000 from Mexicali and 40,000 from here in Calexico. According to our staffing, right, so we used, in law enforcement, we use the formula of 1,000 people per 1 officer. So according to our population of 39,000, and right now our current budget is 25 positions, we're at 0.62 officers for the city. Okay? So our national standard is about 1.5 officers per 1,000. So just using the 40,000 population for the city of Calexico, we should be around 60 officers. The ultimate is about 1.7 per 1,000 people. However, that got us close to almost 80 officers, which we know it's unrealistic to be able to get that many positions in one year. So what does that happen to us as a department and to the citizens of Calexico? So only having half an officer, approximately a little bit over half an officer per 1,000 people in the city of Calexico, that makes our response a lot slower, delayed, and we're overwhelmed with calls of service. So for example, we have approximately 2 officers and supervisor on duty any time during the day. On good days, we'll have 3 officers, but that's it, 2 officers and supervisor. So as officers rotate the calls, they might be busy at a certain call and they might have to break away from that call, causing discomfort on the victim because they're the issues that they call in the first place, and then being able to respond to other high priority calls, like for example domestic violence, traffic collision with injuries, and stuff like that. So as a department, we are definitely being very reactive. We're not being proactive at all, if any. So the next slide, we're comparing, this is basically where we stand as a police department right now. We have 1 chief position, 1 lieutenant's position, 5 sergeant's position, and 18 officers, giving us a total of 25 police officers positions. Non-sworn, we have 1 public safety dispatcher supervisor, 7 public safety dispatchers, 2 records clerk, 1 evidence tech, 1 executive assistant, which is a total of 22. So if you put those numbers together, that is our total department population that we have for them to process reports, answer phone calls, answer questions from the community, do fingerprints, live scans, and any other additional responsibilities of the police department. On the next slide, I did a comparison with all the larger cities in Imperial County. As you might see, Calexico, population 39,841, surface area of 8.62 square miles, total police department personnel of 25 officers, 12 civilians. Once again, putting at 0.62 officers per thousand. Now let's look at the city of El Centro. El Centro has approximately 42,000 population, 11 square miles, and their police department has 52 officers and 11 civilian personnel, with an average of a ratio of 1.1 officers per thousand of population. Let's look at Brawley, which is a little bit smaller than Calexico, 25,000 population, surface area of 8.2 square miles, and they have 25 officers and 14 civilian personnel, being at 1.1 officer per thousand. City of Imperial, 18,000, which is a lot smaller in population, surface area of 6 square miles, and they have 6 less officers than we do, at 19 officers. And they are at 1.05 officers per thousand. So our current deployment, we have a 4-beat system in the city of Calexico, and 1 officer is assigned to each beat. So that means that 1 officer handles any calls within that area of responsibility. And since we only have 2 officers and a supervisor, or 3 officers in a good day, we rotate calls. So as 1 officer stays in the north end, the officer needs to also be in the south end, and then the supervisor supervises them. And they rotate the calls as they come in, depending on what kind of call, is 1 officer response, or if it's a high priority call, it's a 2 officer response. So what is a high priority call? Refusal of leaves, when they have to actually interact with a crime in progress, we like to respond to officers. So as we use the formula that I just mentioned, both of our officers are tied up at a single call, with only the supervisor available to respond to any additional call. So that what happens then is that if an additional call comes out, 1 or 2 things happens. Depending on the priority of the call, the officer is going to break away from that call that he's handling and leave that officer by himself, or the victim or the person who's making the complaint is going to have to wait until he's clear from that call. So that means that right now, we don't have any investigators to investigate any crimes. The officers, as they take the report, they're going to conduct their investigation as far as they can within their work day, and may come in the next day and also continue the investigation. We have no school resource officers, no special assignment officers assigned to any special assignment or any task force officers. So that's just on assignments for officers. However, if our deployment is as it is, or the stays as it is, we're definitely going to have reduction of service. We're going to be responding to. Right now, we respond to non-injury collisions. However, we don't take a report. We just do exchange of information. We also responding, but start reporting misdemeanor calls at school. At the school, we're not taking any enforcement action if it's a misdemeanor calls at the schools. We signing and releasing all misdemeanors, or most of the misdemeanors, unless it's a domestic violence. All training that we do is going to be on overtime basis, because once again, due to the number of officers, we need to keep them out on patrol, working on their working on the calls that they have. So if they're going to have to come in and train, we not do that in overtime. If people take vacation, sick leave, FMLA, any other type of leave, then we have to cover it with overtime. So, and then we have our delay response, basically saying that as soon as an officer clears, they're going to respond. You know, definitely alarm calls, civil problems, or extra requests of extra patrols. So what is our ask? Our ask is for 6 additional positions, that bringing up to a total of 31 officers on the department, still bringing a lot less than 1.1 per thousand, making it 0.77 per thousand. And what would 6 officers give you? It would increase 4 officers per shift, plus 1 supervisor. So now you have 1 officer for each B, and also a supervisor. Then we could increase 2 general crime investigators, request to be able to fill those 2 school resources officers' position at the school, and have them fund those positions, be able to appoint 2 officers to the task force, and then in case there are time off, now we're able to give officers time off instead of covering it with overtime, because we're gonna have enough officers on the shift to cover it if they request time off, and not backfill his position on overtime. Definitely a reduction of overtime, and then most of the training will be conducted on duty. And also, since we don't have a command structure anymore, all command structure just is as a chief of police and then 5 sergeants. We definitely need a middle manager, which is also included in those 6 positions. The middle manager is the one that carries out the vision of the chief, and also with working in conjunction with the supervisors to provide a plan on how to achieve those goals, whether it be traffic enforcement, crime prevention, community service, or any of the goals. And then they're there to, once again, supervise the sergeants, mentorship, coach them, and that's also start planning for the future. We don't want to plan for tomorrow, we want to plan for 3 to 6 years from now. And then definitely a continuity of command. As we stand today, everything comes through the chief's position now instead of having a middle manager to be able to do some of the stuff that is required for the police department. Now, also, our request is going to be 2 additional public safety dispatchers. Our public safety dispatchers are 2 on duty for 12 hours a day for 7 days of the week. Now, however, dispatchers are a very special breed of person because they, for some reason, they are able to multitask 100 things all at once. A phone could be ringing, they could be answering, listening to the radio, watching TV, texting to the officer's information, and then hear the conversation out in that room. But their main goal and their main purpose is to dispatch for fire, dispatch for police, emergency services, animal control, traffic control services, and then answer all 911 calls that come to the city, whether it be a landline, cell phone, or now even text 911. They're the ones that are the hub where they get all the information and disseminate the information to whatever department is required. In addition to and then answering all business lines, all the questions that the public has, goes to our dispatch center. If it needs to be rerouted, they reroute it through records, investigations, or evidence, or even to the chief's office. And then if they need any mutual aid request, then they're the ones that provide the mutual aid request. So, just give you an example on a simple collision on Cole and 111. You may have 911 calls from the people witnessing the crash, police response, fire response, emergency medical services response, and parking control response all at one time. And depending how big the incident is, and then also get mutual aid if it's requested. And still continue to answer any additional calls. So basically 2 dispatchers is not enough. So we were requesting 2 additional ones for this fiscal year to be able to get us to where we need to be at 12 dispatchers. Once again, it's a big ask to have 4 all in one shot. We're going to layer this request for 2 additional dispatchers for this fiscal years. And they also answer any requests for city services, water plant, code enforcement, street department if needed. They also get calls to confirm warrants, missing persons, stolen vehicles, no request. And right now they only have 1 supervisor, so the other 3 shifts do not have a supervisor. Once again, the training is all conducted on overtime, and then there is no quality control audits on those calls either.
All right, Chief, can I wrap it up, please?
Oof.
Thank you. I mean, we have all this stuff, trust me. I mean, we got it here.
So basically, that's kind of what we're asking. We're also asking increases on our overtime request because, as we did the math and then figured out that if people are going to be asking time off and being sick and covering with what we have now, we're going to have to increase our budget request to 310 from 105. Also, we're going to request, increase in our training budget. Not a training budget, on our firearms budget, only gave us $500 for ammunition. As we speak, you know, a box of 40 caliber ammunition is $40. $500 is only gonna buy us about 100, almost 125, 150, 200, 500 rounds. So we're definitely gonna need to increase that budget. Also, increases on our building maintenance. They only gave us 28,000. We need 50,000. We just moved out dispatch from our emergency operations center, and we need to definitely rebuild it and have it ready for the next emergency. So, animal control facilities, we want to be able to increase the temporary staffing. Our one officer is injured, and then we need to increase it to have a temporary staffing to be able to cover that officer that's out on medical leave. And then increase our small equipment line item. We're definitely want to replace our firearms or our rifles, whichever one we need to, because they've been issued since 2006 and they take a little wear and tear. And you know, we put our lives on the hands of these equipment, and I think we need to definitely upgrade and replace that equipment. And as you have my presentation, go ahead and feel free to browse to it as informational items to my request to increase the budget. And then once again, just remember, the police department responds to all calls, whether it be a fire call, whether it be a code enforcement call, whether it be a street department call. We're always gonna have that response. And most of the time, we're the first ones on scene to render that area safe for anybody else that comes after us.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Just real quick, on your SROs, maybe, you know, and I know these are specifics, and I know this is the time to go over that. You know, I know you're limited to, you know, certain time, but, you know, I think you should be given the opportunity, and all of you should be given the opportunity to explain. And even not just explain, but maybe offer some suggestions how to address some of these issues and some of these needs also. Because from this end, what I'm looking for also is for suggestions for ways that we can maybe strategize and find the resources to address some of these needs. Because these are not wants, these are needs. So like the SRO, we understand that, you know, and it's concerning to hear that, you know, we respond to the schools, but almost there's no action taken, right? Maybe collaborating with them, you know, if they can fund, you know, the SRO, and maybe us pick up the rest, you know, for the weekends or after, you know, the schools, you know, that type of thing. I would like to see something like that. And then also on the crime investigators, how is that being handled right now, you know, Lieutenant or Interim Chief?
So let me answer you the school resource officer first. So the school officers, the schools have agreed that they're going to pay a or two school resource officers. However, right now with the staffing that we have, we can't provide them that service until we hire additional positions. With only 25 allotted positions, we don't have the freedom to get those school resource officers and send them over to the school yet, because we're going to need them for patrol, or we're going to need them in the department. With the increase of the personnel, then we are knowing that we are going to be able to hire additional personnel and then backfill those positions. Then we could definitely release those two officers for a temporary period until we get additional positions, or the officers fill those positions to be able to cover that. So right now, if I have 22 officers on patrol, and I'm only filling 3 officers at a time out on patrol, that puts me at 15 officers out on patrol. So the additional 2 or 3 positions, I need to be able to have them in order for me to backfill, to be able to hire, and then release those 2 additional officers to the schools, instead of releasing the officers first and then waiting 4 to 6 months to hire a officer to cover the 2 positions that I just assign two officers to the schools.
But are they, I'm sorry, but are they willing to hire or maybe subsidize to a certain point the salary of these officers, and then us picking up the rest? And I don't know if I'm being too oversimplistic, and that's the kind of what I want to understand. But if they say, well, you know what, we can fund these officers for the normal, I guess, school schedule, and then after that, we can pick up the rest of the time of that officer. Kind of like what I had seen from the SRO that was there, the most recent one that it was there. I would see him at the high school, and then on the weekends I would see him patrolling, after hours. So, and I don't know how that was being handled. I don't know if the school district was paying for that, but maybe talking to them and said, well, you know what, you're going to be responsible for this salary. And I know you're looking at me, but I understand what you're talking about also. But maybe having that conversation at your level, and then if we need to work at the administrator level also, where we can look at those options. And I know, so.
Yes, those conversations have been going on even years ago, that their desire is to have one or two SROs, and they're willing to pay or subsidize the salary. The problem is that if we don't have those additional bodies to release and then backfill with officers, then we're going to be short on patrol, and then we're going to be creating the same problem that we have right now on the SRO. So if those positions are allocated contingent to reimbursement to the schools, then yeah, we'll continue the hiring process right now to be able to fill those additional positions. Instead of looking for, right now we're at 22, we're going to be at 23 this month, we'll be 24 the first week of July. So then we want to have one more position. If we need to be able to put those two SROs, then in order for us to be able to put those, we're going to have to create vacancies on patrol in order for us to fill those positions, and then wait 4 to 6 months to be able to backfill those positions. That's on the SRO. And then there was another question.
Investigator, how are we doing that right now?
On the what? Oh, investigation. So in investigation, so the officer gets a call, he responds, he takes the report, collects any evidence that he can at that point. At that time, if he needs to do any follow-up, he has that patrol that he has in order for him to be able to conduct an investigation. And then he goes home. The next day that he comes back in, he's going to pick up that same investigation. At the same time, responding to any additional call. He's dispatched to. That's how we're doing it right now. On that murder that we just had, we had to bring in additional officers on overtime to conduct an investigation, because once we started with the crime scene, we still had to do a lot of follow-ups after the crime scene was released, and then we're still working on it. So we still have officers coming in overtime to complete that work, and they go back and then come in on the regular work shift, whether it be nights or days.
What about when we bring people from the outside, say sheriffs, besides mutual aid? How much do we pay for that, or how do we work that out?
Well, we haven't actually got into conversations regarding bringing up
No, but I mean, like, if you need to bring an investigator, you don't have someone here per se, right? Or you have to bring, from outside. Do we pay for those services?
Chief, I think you're asking about the mutual aid plan that we have. He wants to know, like, if we have a major call and we get assistance from the sheriff, he wants to know if there's a financial aspect to that.
Correct. There's a financial impact to your department.
So right now there is no financial impact.
Okay.
However, if we're asking for them to take over investigations, we haven't had that conversation yet, and it might be a time to have that conversation. But if we're going to pay the sheriff's office the money for them to conduct investigations for us, then why don't we pay our own people, hire our own people to do the
Yeah.
investigation?
And that's what I don't want to get to, right? Paying out, outside people, bringing consultants or no, I don't want to get to that. I want to make sure that we have our own people, we have our own system to promote, to, upskill our own people. So that's what I want not to happen. So I just wanted to make sure that we're not doing that. And we were doing that, how we were addressing, but I'm happy to hear that in spite of the challenges in staffing, we are addressing our own needs. So that was my question.
Okay, so from what I'm seeing here, if you add 6 additional police officers, that's gonna relieve a lot of the burn and the overtime?
Yes, because when we bring in 6 additional officers, we'll be at 31. And then we'll put 4 officers on each shift, right? 4 officers on each shift, that puts us at 16 plus the 4 supervisors, that puts us at 20. We bring in 2 investigators, that's 22. Another 2 for the task forces, which is going to bring revenue into the city through asset forfeiture. That puts us at 24, and then 2 SROs, that puts us at 26. And then we have our administrative sergeant, a lieutenant's position, and then the chief's position, which makes it up to a total of 31. Once the officers, we get 4 officers and 1 supervisor on each team. If somebody calls in sick, we still have 3 additional officers and 1 supervisor on duty. Right now, we have 2 officers and 1 supervisor on duty. Somebody calls in sick, that only leaves 1 officer and 1 supervisor for the whole city on a 12-hour period.
Yeah, because here you're requesting for overtime to be increased. That's more than, what, half of what you're getting right now? How did you come up with these numbers?
Well, for example, on that overtime, that's how much money we spent this year on overtime alone. So that's 310. That's training, covering shifts.
That's quite a lot. Yeah, I know, and this is quite a lot.
So-
and
So if the city does not allow those 6 positions to be filled, then we need to definitely increase our overtime budget to make sure we cover that. And as you might see, if every single officer in the department decide to take their 80 hours off on vacation and they call in sick 5 days to 10 days out of the year, and then the 4 hours that we're already paying to every officer because they can't be short, that gives us the total of how many hours. And as it is, if we did that, it would cost over $400,000 just in overtime to cover all those positions.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
You're welcome.
Our next presentation is by Interim Finance Director, Finance Department.
You had,
While Gabby is putting up the slides, on your agenda, you see there's 2 items, one's for finance and one for administration. What I did is I combined
Okay.
everything on one presentation. Good afternoon. I'll be presenting to you the administration department's
Good afternoon.
proposed budget for fiscal year 2022-23. In front of you, you'll see what City Hall administration follows through, and it's 7 departments, which consist of the City Council, City Attorney, City Managers, City Clerks, Human Resources, the Finance, and the non-departmental. the city manager, city clerk, and human resources, although those three are combined into one department. The city council consists of 5 city council members, which one is the mayor, and one a pro tem, and then the others are city councils. For this proposed budget, the gross general fund budget is 217,000 plus. After we do the interfund allocations, it comes out to 156,000 plus. What the city council had requested for us for this year was the discretionary accounts of $500 totaling $2,500. The commission stipends for the quarterly meetings, which come out to $9,400. And for the city history book that they are gathering information to do for the city, we were requested to put $5,000 towards the city book. So these are the items that we have put in for the new items. The city attorney, as you may all know, this person, we have a contract service with BB&K, which they are the ones that give us their services. We do have one department just for general counsel, which it really provides for personnel issues or things like that, or when counsel requires services. As you may remember, on their third quarter report, we did request for an increase of 75,000 because of the increase that we've been getting more services from them. Each other departments that require attorneys, they have their own line item for attorneys. The city's managers, which I have, like I said, includes the city clerk and the human resources. They were combined back in 2017 as one department. It consists of 6 FTEs, which is the city manager, executive assistant, human resources manager, 2 HR risk techs, and the city clerk. The total budget is 1 million plus. When we do the interfund allocations, it comes out to 809,000. We did defer one position, which is for the city clerk admin assistant, which was requested, but at this time we have deferred it. The key services for this department, they have to persist with the strategic planning, the policy development. They are accountable for performances of all administrative departments. The city manager is. The city clerk, she oversees the city council agendas, public records, and she is responsible for the security of all official records. So she does have a big responsibility in her one department, and that she is just one individual. On the human resources, they do their employee recruitment, classifications, benefits, labor relations, open enrollment, as we've just recently had. They do all the workers' compensation, that we are in law and we do, that we comply to the law. They do all the FMLA, and as we've had this COVID, they also have to have that all the city staff in regulations with the COVID and have us all in the good standards. As you may see, they really didn't request a lot for this budget. The only thing that they did request was for the city clerk admin assistant to help the city clerk. For the finance department, our budget comes out to 1 million plus. Once we do the interfund allocations, it comes out to 796,000 plus. Our department is responsible for the city's assets, assure timely payments to vendors and employees, which we do payroll in a bi-weekly basis, and as we pay accounts payable in a bi-weekly. We are responsible on a daily basis to give purchase orders to all the departments. We do monthly bank reconciliations. We administer the bonds. And we have to coordinate with our annual audit with the City Independent Certified Public Accountants. And at this time, the finance has not requested anything for this budget. And just to bring it just to your attention, we are short-staffed 3 FTEs currently right now. We don't have the finance director, the accountant, or the payroll technician. So at this point, we, at my department, we managed to fulfill all those needs. The customer service, they're the citizens' first impression. They're the 2 employees are in the front counter. Like I always tell them, their main goal is to provide outstanding customer service to our citizens. They're the ones that oversee the city's central cash. They receive everything. They receive payments from water, sewer, wastewater, business license fees. They provide with a new business license on an annual basis, or when new vendors come in. They have very high quality residents customer service. They do promote the city. They've always, in that department, since they work with all the departments as well as the finance, they say that everyone, even the employees, they're customers, and they provide very good customer service. At this point, for the customer service as well, we did not request anything for 22-23. The non-departmental department, this is where all the allocations go that are not directly to the departments. And this is when we have any vacancy allowances, this is where we keep them. The retiree medical and the OPEB amortizations, these are based on the FTEs that we currently have. Our admin general liability, the CFD contributions, which is just a pass-through, and the non-departmental gross budget was $1,364,000. For the new items for 22-23 that we are requesting is an increase on the CFD contribution sales tax share to $108,000, and the software contract IT licenses, because they have gone up to $9,021. In administration, we also manage other programs, which consist of housing internal service funds, which we are self-insured, and our debt funds. I just want to make it that housing is a department. It's not a program. It's a department that consists of 2 FTEs that we currently have only 1 position active, which is a housing rehab inspector. The gross budget for this department is $249,000. Once we do the allocations, it comes out to $149,000. That was the 1% that you would saw on the proposed budget when I do the presentation. The key services on this department is that they manage the loans, the housing successors loans. We have 2 federal funds and 1 state and 1 local, which the housing administers. And for this fiscal year, the housing is not requesting anything new. The internal services funds, this is the city operates 12 self-insurance programs, which includes the active, retiree medical, workers' compensation, unemployment, and the general liability. For this fiscal year, 2022-23, each of these programs is projected to achieve their 8% 1-month ending reserve balance. So they're in a they're very secure right now, our ISFs, and the way we're managing. We are requesting for the new items is the amortization that I had explained on my proposed budget of the retiree medical unfunded liability over the 30 years. Through 2020, for the past 2 years, we were allocating money on a restricted fund, but they're not, we have it on the city, but they're not really allocated to something trustee. So that's why we are proposing for this administrative to make the next step and establish a section trust to be able to allocate and invest these monies and make them for a 30-year term. And this will help and benefit for the retirees. The prices are going very high. And with this will assist us with those funds. The city administers debt service funds, which are the Measure H, Measure D, the water and wastewater, and Hearthstone and Grand Plaza. These are the main debt services long-term that we currently have. And for this fiscal year as well, we are not making any changes as we've had in the past. And that concludes. I hope I was on my 10, I think I was less than 10 minutes.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions, comments?
I don't. Thank you.
I do. If we go back to the city attorney, I know it's a contracted service, and you're looking at, you're presenting how much we spend, but then you also said that, each department has a line item. So what's the true impact of financial impact on legal services for the city, including the departments?
The departments, I would have to go back and check. It is really high. That is why the interim city manager has developed this worksheet that all departments are going to be filling to oversee the calls and not approve them before, but he wants to have an overseeing of those calls because yes, it has gone pretty high.
Yeah, and that's my point, regardless of the, process that we have in place for each department to be able to have access to legal services, so contact the legal services, that's okay. And I think that's one way to keep an eye on those expenditures. But then also, I think, looking at these numbers, plus whatever additional expenses we have from each department, I think it's adding up to a very, very hefty amount that it's just not something that I can muster, So I think we need to be looking at better options, or not better options, but other options. Sorry, I didn't mean to say better options. I'm not talking about the quality of the service provided by this law firm. I'm just talking about options as to how we can maximize our resources because, I would like to see the total.
Yes,
including,
I'll go ahead and provide that to you.
If you can provide that,
Yes, I will.
that would be very helpful. And then also maybe start looking at options. How can we, control those expenses besides what you have in place right now? That's one. And I'm sorry, Rosie, I know you have a question, but let me, before I forget, so. Then also, if we go to customer service, I know that's great, that we're putting emphasis on customer service because at the end of the day, that's the face of the city as people come in. But then also what I want to see is that we develop a process to bring ourselves up to date on collection. And maybe that's not here, but I see that also is business licenses, utility customer billing. So I want to make sure that we concentrate ourselves on that, and even though there's no request, but if we can bring someone that can actually go back and make sure that all the billing gets done, on time, that it's actually going out to everyone that needs to be up to date, because catching up, one thing, it's really difficult on the businesses for us to get back to them, halfway through the year, versus making sure that we collect those fees on time and not put a burden also on them. And I think that on itself also can be self-funded, where we collect, not just collect. I don't want for us to see it as just collecting, but providing services, the customer service. So on that, I would just look at what we have, and then maybe adding someone part-time, or if it has to be an FTE, depends. I don't know where we stand on business licenses. I don't know where we stand on all the arrears collection of fees and dues that we have. And that's another thing that I would like to see. And make sure that everyone that needs to be, you know, paying for those services is being billed and is being billed on time.
Yes, currently, right now, the code enforcement officer, she is visiting the businesses, and she's giving them warnings for them to come in, and she gives them a specific amount of time to come in and pay their business licenses, and then she'll be following up with them.
Yeah, but you know, and I understand. But usually, when you mention code enforcement officer, usually has a connotation of, wow, here they come, you know, for the enforcement. And I think it's more the customer service. You know, here comes the customer service advisor. You know, oh, I'm here. You know, a friendly reminder. You know, you owe me. You need to pay me, right? But I think that approach.
Okay.
But I think we need to bring ourselves up to date on that, and make sure that we are proactive, not reactive. And I think that probably can be self-funded if we just make sure that we keep on doing that. I know we have. Also, I saw something where using software. I know, and I love that the way that our utility bills get, you know, paid. You know, you go and I'm actually always kind of like suggesting to IID, you know, maybe use, you know, the same type of approach that we have on paying our water bills. You know, it's 35 cents, you know, doing a transaction online versus, I think it's for them, it's like $2.
Yes.
So that's a cup of coffee, you know, not a Starbucks, you know, so, but still, so I think we have some great opportunities, but, you know, maybe investing in more technology that I see, and like I mentioned before, I think we're still in the dark ages, but in order for us to get out of the dark ages also, we have to make sure that we don't leave money on the table, and that on itself will translate into great customer service for our community. Then I know Gabi, she has an FTE here also, the city clerk. You know, I'm happy to see that because I know that, you know, with the public records request, with the agendas, with everything else. So I want to make sure that, you know, we keep an eye on that. And then one thing on city council. So the budget, if there's some savings on city council, and I'm talking on my behalf. For example, I don't claim you know, medical insurance, which a family coverage can be a little more than $2,000 a month. Where are those savings going? Where is that line item that you set aside? How is that being recaptured, or where are you recapturing that?
At the end of the year, because as you may see, some of the line items go negative. That's what we use. That's why departments, when they want to do any budget transfers, they do it within their operational items, not salaries and benefits. Because any savings that we have under salaries and savings, that's what covers for those small little line items that were negative.
Yeah, because that's not a small savings. I mean, that's a significant savings for a whole year. And mind you, this is something also that since I came here, I have not claimed any benefits.
Yeah, the insurance, medical insurance, roughly 27,000 more or less.
Correct. So do the math.
Yes.
And I think we can even, you know, have some part-time individual or use it for other. I know there's some legal precedent that, you know, I can't really say how that can be used. I wish I could. But if not, you know, I want to make sure that that is being really considered to make sure that we benefit. We benefit in customer service provision or someone that really needs it. You know, being a city clerk or whoever. So keep that in mind. Thank you. That's all for me.
Okay. Well, I think, like, I'm going to piggyback on what Mr. Garcia is saying. I think that whatever the stipend that are not being given to the council, I think that should be rerouted to the city clerk. You know, I know that the city clerk right now, she's very much in need of software, you know, computer and updating. I think that's something that we really need to look into on that. And also with the attorney, I know it's quite a bit of money that's going to for the services. Is there any way, I don't wanna, cause any more work for you, but if you could just glance how much we were paying in the last 5 years or so, I think that would give us a better idea of what we're looking at. And maybe, like I said, maybe try to look for other alternatives.
Okay, I'll provide that
Thank
information.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next presentation is the library. Manager Legaspi.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I want to thank the opportunity to do this presentation and those library advocates that send those messages in support of our budget. Thank you. Okay. So the library department consists of the Camarena Memorial Library and the Carnegie Technology Center, 2 buildings and 1 budget. The library, we're happy to reopen our doors to public service, public services in August of last year. I just want to point out that even though that we were closed, we continue to offer services throughout this 2 years of that users were not able to come in. So our current schedule is Monday to Thursday, 2 to 7, Fridays, 12 to 5, every other Friday, and we continue to offer curbside services. So if anybody wants to pick up a book, pick up a packet, any questions they might have, they can come in the morning, and through our parking lot or side door, we can help them. The Carnegie Technology Center is, because we have no staff, it's close to the public, but we do use it to offer our English as a second language classes. So it's open 3 times a week, 10 months out of the year. So we continue to offer services there. Our third service point is our online presence. We manage 2 websites, one in English and one in Spanish, and where our users can go and find information about program services, everything that the library offers 24/7, have access to our resources as long as they have a library card. They can apply online for a library card. We try to make everything easier and more accessible to anybody that wants to use our services. There's also a contact to our social media on Facebook and Instagram, where we also get messages from the public. So the library is very, very short-staffed. It consists of 3 full-time staff members: library manager, library technician, library assistant. We have 1 less than part-time library aide through a contract agency. We just lost our custodian, so we're going back to square one. Why? Because we have a very small budget. I can only offer a few hours every day, so obviously the person needs more hours and better pay. So we're back to figuring out how we're going to clean the building. Thanks to the literacy grant, I was able to hire 2 people, but it's less than between 8 to 15 hours per week. But that's tremendous help to help us with the literacy programming. So, what does the library do for the community? So the library provides programs, services, and resources that really enrich the lives of our community members. We provide resources that meet educational, recreational, and informational needs. We promote lifelong learning and the pursuit of knowledge. So during this fiscal year up until May, we were able to check out 8,125 books. Our users use our digital platforms and access over 5,000 either books, ebooks, music, TV shows, all the different offerings our digital platforms offer. We were able to request 368 books and zip books. Those books were sent to the user's home. We were able to issue 582 library cards. We saw about 17,000 people coming into the building, even with the reduced schedule. We have a wonderful snack and lunch program, and we were able to provide 9,395 lunches and snacks combined. And we were able to add 895 materials to the collection. So now, in addition to these regular services, we are always looking for ways to support the community and provide more. So we do that through various programming. We also create, since we don't have a budget item, a line item for programming, we create partnerships. We create partnerships with other another community agencies to bring additional programming. So we are able to, as I was saying, some of the programs that we offer, we service everyone, from babies to seniors. So we provide baby times, we provide story times, whether it be in person or virtual. We're going to offer a toddler playtime, because what's the job of a toddler, of a preschooler, is just to play. That's how they learn. One of the partnerships we have is with the Imperial County Free Library, so they bring the Raise a Reader program to our library, and that has been a big help, because at times we have not been able to offer a baby time program, so we use these partnerships with other libraries to provide this service. We have a wonderful 1,000 books before kindergarten, because we want to encourage parents to read to their kids. The more they read, the better they will do at school. We have some play spaces around the library so that families can just stop by the library and kids can play. And we continue to have the Reach Out and Read program, which is a partnership with a local pediatrician at the Inner Care, formerly Clínica Salud del Pueblo. So she prescribes reading whenever families take their kids to their child well visits. They prescribe reading, and they get a free book. We also offer programs. Oh, hold on. It's just a couple of pictures, but maybe I'll skip them. Okay. We also offer programs for obviously school-age children and teenagers. We have arts and crafts. We have STEAM lab programs to spark creativity. We have one of our staple programs are the Family Night programs, which were in the past, before the pandemic, were offered inside the library. During the pandemic, we moved it into Zoom, and now we offer them in the parking lot to try to make it a little safer for the community. We also have a 500 books before junior high reading challenge all year round, our yearly family summer reading program, which is started today. Another partnership with the Imperial County Free Library is the Libraries on the Spectrum, where we offer a program for families who have a child diagnosed with autism. We have teen time programs. We're also not just there at the library waiting for people to come in. We also go out in the community, and whenever the local schools invite us to visit the classroom, whether it be a Zoom or a career day, we go and try to bring the library information to the community. Another partnership is with United Way. They provide a tutor to provide homework help assistance, and she gets, 5 to 10 kids on a daily basis, because they go there so that we can help them complete their assignments. And our wonderful Lunch at the Library program, another partnership with the Calexico Neighborhood House. And then also adults. We have book clubs. We have a vintage club for people. It's like a to-go packet. Those that might not want to stay at the library and engage in conversations of a book they're reading. We provide mandala sheets. We provide word puzzles and different things, craft activities, so that they can continue being active at home. And this also gives us an opportunity to promote the services that we provide every month. We provide this packet. We have a wonderful adult literacy services grant and program where we provide one-on-one tutoring for those that are in need of improving their basic reading and writing skills. Along with that, we apply for a family literacy funding, so we want to bring the whole family into this learning affair. We have the English as a second language classes. We have a conversation group for people to have a space and just practice their conversational English. Sometimes there's not many opportunities to do so here in Calexico. And then we work with other city departments. We work with the Calexico Police Department, and we have been hosting Coffee with a Cop on a yearly basis. So this brings a new group of people that perhaps they might not be library users, but maybe they want to learn more about the police department, and this is a safe space and time to do so. So they're not being arrested, they're not being stopped by any other offense, they're just there to meet them. And on top of that, we have special activities. So we participate in the city tree lighting ceremony. We brought books, we brought snacks. We had a gun awareness presentation put together by the district attorney's office. We joined national programming such as National Library Week, and we participate in Kids and Badges also. So we're always trying to be proactive and offering programs to our community. We're also very active. We're always looking forward to apply for grants, especially those that do not require matching fund because the library has a very small budget. So these grants augment our library budget. So we have the California State Library provided us an opportunity to apply to a workforce development package, which gave us digital content such as Coursera, BrainFuse, JobNow, VetNow, where people can go and work on their resume. If they need to update their resume, they have live coaches that can help you practice for an interview. There's many skill shares, so Get Set Up, where seniors can take a yoga class. Everything's online. You know, you can polish a skill, you can add a new skill. So all that is available with your library card through our website. Once again, we apply for ZipBooks grant program. We were awarded $9,000 this current fiscal year. We're waiting for the budgets, the budget for the state to get approved so that we can once again apply. Since our book budget, the city budget for books was reduced, so we relied on this type of grants to be able to afford books to our users. The Lunch at the Library program, we had 2 allocations the current fiscal year, so for a total of $3,800. With this money, we were able to purchase books and school supplies and craft activities. So when the kids will come and pick up a snack or lunch at the library, they also take a literacy pack bag with them. It's not year-round because it's not enough money for the whole year, but we already received allocation for this next fiscal year. So hopefully, the first week in July, we'll be able to provide the literacy bags to any kids ages 1 through 18. The Adult Literacy Services grant program will give us $44,874 in the upcoming fiscal year, so we will be able to continue providing tutoring and family literacy services. One more, the California State Library Park Pass is a pass that was provided to us so that our users, if they want to visit a state beach or a lake or a recreational facility where there's a charge for just coming in and parking, this pass is going to allow them to go in for free. So the only requisite is that they have to have a library card and stop at the library to get one pass. And last, we have the Digital Navigators Pilot Program. We're the only library in the Imperial County that is part of this pilot program. And what it does, it provides our users low-cost internet service or devices, those that are obviously requested. And also if they need assistance in learning how to use the device, learning how to navigate the internet, the digital navigators will help them get in contact with them and help them access a low-cost internet service, a device, or assistance. Once again, I am asking for staff because as I mentioned, we don't have a line item for programs, so everything is done in-house or through partnerships. I'm sorry, it's very hard to see. I requested 2 library assistant positions, 1 custodian, and 1 children's services coordinator. So as I mentioned, we have many programs and services free to the community, and we're very, very short-staffed. So imagine what we could do if we had an additional staffing. And so once again, we need a staff, we need a custodian, we need to repair the parking lot. We need to repair the roof. We still need to repair the roof whenever we have rain. It rains inside the library as well, and that is not good for our books. We are working on changing our drinking fountains with water refill stations. We're working on hopefully to replace our public computers, and we really need a commercial refrigerator because with all those snacks and lunches that we provide, we need to make sure to keep them at a safe temperature. And I just want to tell you thank you, and just remember every dollar that you allocate to the library budget is an investment you're doing for the betterment of our community. Thank you. Let me know if you have any questions.
I don't.
No, I just want to compliment you on everything that you do with such a small budget, and that the outreach that you do. I know that I get the calendar every month. You know, these are what's happening in your library. Also, the same thing with Rec and everybody. And I think you're doing a wonderful job. But we need to do a much better of a job in making sure that we provide these much needed needs. And then I'm really interested in also the promotion of all these other programs that you have. The workforce, which is that's something that I do. I'm very excited about those services, especially because I get to see this on a daily basis, and sometimes it's okay. I need help with my resume, I need help with my interviewing skills. So knowing that this exists, send that link so I can
Yes,
also
I
send it out to people and do it from their home. It's an online service, right?
Yes.
So that's something great, and thank you for that. Now the digital navigator, what was the response since when did you get this grant, or what has been the response? I know that during the pandemic there was a huge need for access to technology, and then even having the proper equipment. So what was the response, or what did you see?
Actually, we just started with
Oh,
this.
did
It's
you
just
started? Oh, okay.
So about 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
We
okay,
just started 2
okay.
weeks ago. So we're so busy with the summer reading programs. I haven't had a chance to really promote it, but that's on my agenda for this week.
So
So yes, what they're going to do is they're going to contact. There's a number. Actually, there's information on our website already. So either they can text, they can call, they can email, and then within 24 hours, the person will receive a call from a digital navigator. We have one in our staff that is
Okay.
going to be working, be one of the navigators, but he is not only going to service Calexico, he might service Temecula and some other places in California. So there is, I believe, there's four stations for pilot libraries. So he might be able to help people within California, but not necessarily from Calexico. But obviously, if people from Calexico, I guess, or the Valley make this request, it will be directed towards.
So are we the only ones, the only library that has it, or will have this?
Yes, in Imperial County,
wow.
yes.
That's great. That's a good testament to
Yes.
what
We
you're
were
doing.
chosen, they asked us to be part of it
Yeah,
because of our
so-
bilingual services and everything else that we do.
So this is the big announcement then,
Yes.
la primicia. Okay. But thank you, Lisa. It's,
Thank you.
very good job. And yeah, I have been to the coffee with the cop, and it feels good, to say hi to them without being, okay, am I being pulled over, and what excuse am I going to come up with, so. But it's always good to have those type of events, and maybe, having more events, the fire department, everybody, who knows, Public Works, I think it's a good opportunity to meet, the staff, Rec, everybody. I think it's a good opportunity for the public to interact with their, public servants, and even just having access to the library. Very few times we go to the other side of the library or outside the library, which, it's a very nice space also. I mean, the weather right now is not that great, but, usually when you have these events, it's very nice, and it just feels good to be able to talk to, again, the people that work for you, and providing you the service. So, but thank you, good job.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
Thank you, Lisa, for all your hard work. The grants, do you write them, or who assists you with the grant writing? You
Yes,
do?
I do. Mhm.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Our next presentation is the Recreation Department Manager at our.
Good afternoon, council members.
Good afternoon.
Recreation Manager for the City of Calexico. Thanks for having us today. We have a couple of locations. We have the Recreation, the Community Center, and we have the Cultural Arts Center. Soon, we will have also our multi-purpose gymnasium. So that's going to be exciting. Hopefully 2024. And I'm going to be very, very brief. Your staff, it's composed of 5 people, and 4 of them are full-timers, myself included. Recreation manager, the administrative assistant, recreation coordinator, sports coordinator, and our cultural arts assistant. For my staff that is probably watching, I want to thank you and applaud you for all the work that you do. I would not be able to be standing here if it were not for you. I thank you for your service. So what we do, we coordinate and provide year-round arts, recreational, and sport activities for youth, adults, and seniors. We maintain an active relationship with and partnerships with local organizations to provide programs and services. We organize and provide health and wellness presentations and special events for the city. We coordinate field allocations for sports leagues, all those leagues that come and say, we don't have nice fields. Well, we try to do those allocations 2-3 times a year. As of this year, we are back with a summer pool program that is about to start. So what we did during 2021 and 2022, you can see some of the programs. I'm not going to go over each one of them. You can read them. But that is just to give you a brief idea of the programming that was offered through year-round, some of them, not all of them. As for special events, we have health and wellness presentations. We do 5 Facebook Live interviews, cooking presentations also on Facebook Live. We do summer water events at the park last year, and this year it's just wonderful that we're going to be having the pool instead of water events. And the Christmas drive-by event that started because of COVID, and now we will continue doing it for the city because it's just so well received. For the Arts Center, well, it's been growing, and I'm very proud of that. At the beginning, we started with the assistance of the Calexico Arts Council. They were able to, through a grant, they were able to provide funds to have instructors there, and I'm happy to let you know that I was able to secure a grant for the city through the California Arts Council, and this is how our summer programs will be funded. And I was also able to secure funding for this coming year, 2021-2022, that will provide some funds for services, not so much for classes, but all kinds of services, such as a printer. We didn't have a printer at the center, or a scanner. All the pest control activities, all those things will be able to be covered through that grant. So speaking of grants, I was also able to apply, and I was told that we were granted the Heffernan Memorial Grant for seniors this coming year. That is, we applied for $30,000, and we got word that they approved $25,000, and that is pending LAFCO approval. So hopefully that does get approved, and that would be our third grant through the city, through my department. Our priority needs this year, and that is if you approve Measure H's recommendations of $100,000 for recreational programs, that takes care of recreation programs for this coming year. So that shifts then what my priorities will be for recreation. It would be, of course, just like every single one of my colleagues here present, staff. We are very short-staffed. It's a staff of 4.5 people that serves 40,000, just like the chief mentioned. So a custodian. We don't have a custodian at all. So we rely on our seniors program, the SIR program, but they are limited on what they can do, the number of hours they can do, and the type of work they can do. And then after that, any kind of minor fixings, even if it's to change a light bulb, we need to ask our great public managers, public works manager for assistance. That could be taken care of internally if we were to have a custodian. A PT, a part-time recreational leader. I am trying to plan for the very near future. We're gonna have a gymnasium, and I only have one sports coordinator who cannot be divided into 1,000 people to do sports programs. So we need to have people who she can train and be able to work for the city, handling some of the sports programs that we will be utilizing in all these locations. And we need our grade cultural arts assistant to be a full-time. If you were to see our schedule of daily events, daily classes at the Arts Center, and one of these days I'm going to email it to you so you can see, it's full by the hour. So if I were able to have them for a full day, we would able to do more programming at the Arts Center. It's just a matter of not having enough hours. Now, summer pool program 2022-23 will be just around the corner. So in the budget, and it's been deferred, $60,000 so that we can have a summer pool program and not having to worry about possibly not having funds or be waiting for other organizations to come through. If we don't need it, great. It goes back into the general fund, and it will, at the end of the day, it will compensate for other departments that are in the red. But if we, at some point in the future, pending our revenues, that would be for you, in front of you, to consider within the fiscal year, because we start mid-June with the summer pool program. And building improvements, well, there's so many building improvements that we need, but those are the priorities. The interior and the exterior lighting upgrade, it's horrible. It's outside, it's dark, it's horrible. We get a lot of complaints from parents mentioning that it's just not safe for the kids. Also, the same thing inside. People rent the community center, and the lighting is really bad. There's a lot of lights that are not working. We just need an upgrade, period, because we buy light bulbs and they go out within a month. So it's just that they're old. Parking lot resurfacing, just like the library, it's just in bad condition. Recreation front door replacement, and also the cultural arts front door replacements. Some pictures for you to see. There's a picture is worth 1,000 words. There's other things that the center does need, but those will be the highest in my priority list. This is it, Council, in case you have any questions for me.
Did I hear right about Heffernan?
Yes, I was able to attend their board meeting, and the board approved $25,000 pending LAFCO approval.
Okay, well, I want to thank them for that.
Yes.
And since we're going to have that money, are we going to invest it with the seniors as we did before? Is that going to be?
That is correct. That grant is specially written for the seniors.
Okay.
And I'm thinking that I would actually, because they're doing less, they used to give us 50. So 50, it's 25,000 is less, is half of what they used to give us before. So there's gonna still be some needs, but with Measure H, we will be able to make it work for all
I would like to
ages.
see their activities again.
Absolutely,
You know,
they're
I know
waiting
we
for
would
that.
charge like $5 or something like that, but at least.
All classes were free to seniors. Right now, they're not being free. They're not offered free because it comes from the general fund, so they do pay something, but they do pay. Once we have Heffernan, then the seniors will be able to enroll in classes at no cost.
Well, thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah. I know during COVID, there was no activity going on over at the community center. But now, hopefully, getting out of this, maybe he didn't have much knowledge, or don't have much knowledge of that. But I know the community center, it was a popular place to be rented out for parties, and, but that, those fees usually went to the general fund, right?
They are going to the general fund.
Okay. So, again, getting out, I think, some of that revenue that is generated, I think should be put back on the where it's coming from. I know, I understand we need to increase our revenues and, our reserves, but it doesn't mean that we don't have to put back. And I think that's part of the issue that has been happening, because we were always just using and not putting anything back into that, facility. So that's something that, we will look at that, and I ask my colleagues to make sure that we put it back, we reinvest it, not so much spend it. I always say reinvest it. And I'm glad to hear that, that the programs for senior citizens are coming back. And I would like to see them even free of charge, even if it comes out from the general fund. No one should be paying for something that they already paid for, through their contributions and their hard work for so many years. So to charge them, even if it is a couple of bucks, I think it's just
Yeah, right now it's $5.
not acceptable.
Yeah.
But anyway, thank you for the great work, and thank you for everything that you guys have done and continue to do, even during the most difficult times. I remember, going on Zoom to see that the sketching with you, which, I tried, but, thought I was, kind of like doing some of those, cartoons, and everything ended up looking like SpongeBob, kind of like a square. And but it was great. So wonderful job, and thank you to all of you. So looking forward to, what's to come. So appreciate it.
And just as a side note, yes, during COVID, we were offering programming just like the library. We were doing online services. The staff was great. We sat down on the table and we started discussing what is it that we can do for the community, even though our doors are closed, and everyone, and I mean from my office assistant to everyone, stepped in and helped.
Yeah, and one thing that I don't want to forget, it's all the wonderful art exhibits and just events that take place at the Carmen Durazo. I think it's great, and I think, we need to come out and support, those events, because, there's some great, artwork and pieces that are being shown and exhibited by local artists that we're missing out. But, even that, it's great. It's something that, again, contributes to the quality of life, but we need to come out and support. And that's something that, again, we're missing out, but you guys are putting a great deal of work in it shows. So, but thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Our next presentation is by Director Talinda of Building Planning. Is she here today?
She's on Zoom.
She on Zoom? Okay.
We're about to get her on.
Okay.
Hi, good evening. Good afternoon. Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes. Okay. I've been giving the presentation on mute for the last few minutes. Sorry about that. Okay, so good evening, council, staff, and members of the public. I will start with introducing myself. Slide 1. This is the Planning, Building, and Engineering Division's Development Services for the City of Calexico, the Department Budget Review for 2022-2023. Next slide, Ms. Gabby. Slide 2, please. Department needs, presented by Lisa Telinda, the Director. Slide 3, Development Services. What do we do? The mission of the Development Services Department is to serve the community of Calexico with professional, courteous, and efficient building and safety services that safeguard life, limb, health, property, and public welfare to enhance the quality of life for all our citizens. These services that the department offers are plan review, inspection services for planning, building, engineering, code enforcement, administration, permitting processes, land use engineering, and again, code enforcement services. The goals of the department are to enhance public safety in the built environment by providing thorough and timely plan review services and building, engineering, and planning inspections. We provide customer-oriented services to the public in a professional, courteous, and efficient manner, seeking the highest quality product and outcomes. We also strive to maintain accountability and efficiency in our dealings with clients, consistently applying a problem-solving approach to conflict resolution. Next slide, Ms. Gabby, please, slide 4. So really, I want to keep it short and simple. For our department, the need really is staffing. So currently, the planning division budget in 2015, and that is a typo, sorry, should say 2022, we have 5 full-time employees. And that's an office assistant, an administrative assistant, a building official, a code enforcement officer, and myself, the director. So 2021 for planning division, the budget covered 2.5 FTEs. In 2015, the planning division had 5 FTEs. So it was a total, there's a difference from 2015 to 2021 and 2.5 less. And then the building division budget in 2015 had 8 full-time employees budgeted. And the 2021 budget has 4.5 FTEs budgeted. We've only filled the total of 5, so we have 2 positions vacant. So what we're requesting is really one more staff member, and we're splitting positions to have part-time positions. We also recently took over the engineering division, and previously the engineering division had a project inspector and an engineering technician. Currently, there's only an engineering technician for that division. So with that said, when we have 6 total staff members for planning, building, engineering, this is what it really looks like. If I am not at the city or I'm out sick, I don't have anyone to fall into the second in command position. If I have my building official out, it's me who would be doing inspections or sending out our code enforcement officer to cover for inspections. And then I would assist in the plan review capacity. If the code enforcement officer is out, we don't have, in this department, a next in line to assume responsibilities for code enforcement other than me stepping in or having the building official step in. If the engineering technician calls out sick, we don't have anyone to cover for him unless I go do the inspections or the reviews. And we don't have on-call inspection services, at least through our division right now for engineering primarily, where if he calls out sick and we have inspections scheduled, I don't have anything in line to call a third party to do engineering inspections. So with that said, I'll go to the next slide. Our department requests are staffing, customer service, processing projects, along with increasing developments within the city are a priority. And in order to meet the demand and supply needs of the community, staffing levels need to be increased within the department. So with the part-time positions being requested is 1 engineering technician and 1 building inspector. Because if our building official is out, I have code enforcement step in, and the code enforcement officer conducts inspections. Full-time positions being requested are development analyst and a planner 1. We don't have a planner. If I'm not there, I do all the planning portion of duties within the department. So we don't have any type of contingency where if something happens, it does fall on me or another staff member that I have to pull from conducting different duties. For example, the code enforcement officer, no longer for that day or days while we have our building official out, he'll step in and do building inspections. We have the office assistant and an administrative assistant. This department would thrive from having these positions be changed into technical positions, where currently the office assistant is functioning as a permit technician. They're the ones who create the permits, create the invoices, contact the applicants, run the front counter, create the invoices, the formulas, what we're charging. And our engineering technician, as I mentioned earlier, we don't have a contingency plan for when they're not there. The engineering technician does the front counter, does the plan checks, does the invoicing, does the creation of his permits, does the project inspections, does everything in the entirety from start to finish to closing out the projects and doing the inspections without even an assistant. So the real ask is to increase our staffing. And we've repurposed what we have existing approved positions that have not been staffed to be divided to create part-time positions and to assist in the reclassification in positions so that we can make sure that staff is functioning at the titles and compensation that they really are putting out the work, and then that we can comfortably give them the work that also is included in permit technician duties and project inspector duties without having to go through different types of out-of-class pays and situations of that sort. Ms. Gabby, next slide, please. As I said, I would keep it short and simple. The ask and the need is to increase staffing within the department. From 2015 to now, 2015 there was 13 employees for a combined for engineering, planning, and building. And right now we have 5 and then plus 1 from engineering, so we have 6. And there's a gap, and there's impacts experienced internally and externally. With that said, I will stand for any questions. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Yeah, I have a question. How many in total do you have then? Because you said a little bit confusing. You said there's 6 in total in the department? That's including yourself?
I'm sorry. It is like lagging, it's glitching. Could you,
Councilmember Ariola Fernandez is asking if you have 6 in total in the 3 departments.
yes, in total, it is 6. As I said, we have 1 engineering technician for engineering. That's just engineering. For planning and building combined, we have 1 office assistant, 1 administrative assistant, 1 building official, and 1 code enforcement officer.
So that's including yourself. It makes it 6.
And myself, yeah, 6 total, yes.
Okay. So you're requesting 2 part-time and 4? So in other words, to increase everything to 12?
No, with our asks, so currently the 2021 budget, it budgeted for 7 positions, but only between planning and building. This is excluding engineering. And so from planning and building, we have 2 positions that are vacant. Of those
Okay.
2 positions, we're asking that 1 position be split. For the part-time positions being requested. So in actuality, there's really 1 position that would be funded, added, because we are using 2 vacant positions to split to fund the part-time positions, and then the other position that is also vacant to be used for any funding needs for the reclassifications. And then we have from the budget between 2021, 2022, a new ask of 136,000 for the remainder of the positions. So in actuality, we'd be adding 2 positions and 2 part-time positions, which would make 3 full-time positions to the already 5 plus the engineering technician 6, 7, 8, and then the part-time positions 9.
Yeah, well, thank you, Lisa. I know you're working
welcome.
very hard. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, and I just want to commend what you do also. I know that you did mention something about cross-training, which is great, but then also we have to make sure that, we have proper staffing because, this is also when there's potential to generate revenue. So, again, let's look at this just like what we're looking at the rest of the departments, but I know that you have a lot of things going on aside from your job at the planning department, grants and all of that will create also additional work, but then also potential for additional revenue. So again, thank you for that. We'll be looking at that, and I for one, I have the idea and the proposal that we should be investing our resources, and I think this is one that we're looking at, whether it's looking at our schedule fees and all kinds of things that, from day one when you came in, you proposed all those things to us, and we're in the middle of still of coming up with some final in all those projects. But, my concern also is that when we get to that, implementation, that we won't have the staff. So, again, let's look at that, and as a council, we have to make sure that we create these positions to generate the revenue, and just knowing what we had also on our budget report from last week, the type of revenue that we need to generate even just to keep the services that we have. And it's interesting that we compare back to 2015. That's 7 years ago, and it looks like light years, but it's again, we need to bring ourselves up to date. So, but thank you for what you do. Thank you to your staff, and thank you for your feedback and recommendations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Next up is presentation by a Public Works Manager. Follow me.
Good afternoon, Mayor, council members, staff present, and those watching.
Good
My
afternoon.
name is Liliana Falomir, and I'm the Public Works Manager for the city of Calexico. My presentation might be a little longer, and the reason is that Public Works Department oversees 12 divisions and approximately 90% of the capital improvement program. The first division, of course, it's a Public Works Administration. Again, we provide, or we're responsible of providing the maintenance and all the city infrastructure, which is water, wastewater, streets, parks, Public Works admin, fleet, park, facilities, streets, Calexico International Airport, transit, solid waste, water treatment plant, water distribution, wastewater treatment, wastewater collection, and again, our capital improvement program. Our organizational chart for Public Works Administration is, of course, our interim city manager, and then right now we don't have a Public Works director, so I fill in assisting the interim city manager to oversee the Public Works, and I have an executive assistant. I have a project inspector, which is a vacant position, and then we currently have a project coordinator that has recently joined our department. Our proposed budget for 22-23 is $347,409. On our needs list is our number one priority, which is our Public Works Director / City Engineer, as well as we requested to purchase a medium truck. Right now, we only have one vehicle, so if I'm in meetings, our project coordinator cannot go to meetings, or we have to, schedule our schedule, so if she can go, or then I can go, and so forth. So we are requesting to purchase a vehicle for our Public Works admin department. For our fleet and equipment maintenance division, we service approximately 110 vehicles, which is, for all city divisions, as well as police department, fire department. And our fleet division provides maintenance to approximately 20 vehicles and equipment on a weekly basis. Our organizational chart, we have a supervisor fleet maintenance. We have one mechanic, step 2. We have one that is vacant, and then we also have a mechanic 1 service advisor, and also we have a mechanic service advisor limited term, which is also vacant. Our fleet and equipment maintenance division budget is $199,779, and for fiscal year 22-23, we are requesting an additional $50,000, and that is to purchase a service truck as well as a tire mount machine. If you can see the picture in the slide, our division only has one service truck right now, and it's from 1991. We haven't been able to purchase the service truck for them in a really long time. I know that in the past, council members have asked for the purchase of hybrid vehicles or electrical vehicles. Just want to let you guys know that back in 2010, the city purchased through a grant 8 hybrid trucks that only lasted about 5 years. 5 of them are currently in our fleet, but the other ones are just at the yard. It takes about $6,000 to $10,000 for us to repair them each, if we want to put them back again to the fleet. Also, if we purchase vehicles, electric or hybrid, we also need to add more funding to our training, because our technicians don't have that training, and so it'll be an additional charge to the city. Our parks maintenance division, they provide maintenance to 15 parks 4 baseball fields, 27 green areas, 6 facilities, and 4 parking lots, with a total of 132 acres. For our park maintenance division, we only have our supervisor operation maintenance. The supervisor of operation maintenance not only oversees the parks, but he also oversees fleet, and he also oversees the street. We also have a crew leader, and we have 4 permanent part-time laborers only. And this is just for parks to provide maintenance to the 132 acres. For our plant maintenance division, our budget, proposed budget is $512,474. I am asking to reclassify our 4 permanent part-time laborers to full-time positions. I'm also asking to add 2 additional, at least part-time laborers to help us out. Also, I'm requesting additional funding to repair lighting at various parks and parks improvements. The pictures on your right hand side, those are pictures of, on Sunday, staff noticed that somebody tried to break in to the park lights at American Legion Field and Alex Rivera. So we're constantly not only replacing light bulbs, but also fixing vandalism that happens within our parks. And we only have, if you subtract the 512 from the salary and benefits, approximately $200,000 for every park in Calexico to maintain and provide repairs. Our facilities, the city provides maintenance facilities to 17 facilities. As you heard, the library, recreation, police, the fire department. They are all constantly requesting assistance. All the facilities are probably about 15 years old. So they need to have lighting repaired. They need to have roof maintenance. They have to have plumbing. There's plumbing issues. And we get called to assist the departments because within their budget, they don't have custodians or they don't have building maintenance personnel. So our organizational chart for this department is just one building maintenance service employee that we have. So for fiscal year 22-23, the budget is $141,100, and I have requested 2 additional building maintenance worker. I've also requested the purchase of 1 service truck, and if I get the additional personnel, I would need a medium truck for the additional personnel. On the right side, you'll see a picture of the service truck that our building maintenance worker uses, and it's a 2001 Chevy S10. For our streets division, we provide maintenance to all the city, within city limits. Back in January 1st of 2020, when Republic Services Agreement was signed, they provide the street sweeping services, but we still get calls, and then we take down the information, and then we provide it to Republic Services so they can take care of the items that are within the street services agreement. Our streets division has 1 crew leader that is vacant. Our crew leader recently retired, so the position is vacant. We have 1 painter, 1 heavy equipment operator, and then 1 full-time laborer, and then we have 4 permanent part-time positions. For our streets division, this doesn't come out of the general fund. The 1.2 comes out of the gas tax. And for fiscal year 22-23, we were able to get a grant through the Corona Response and Relief Supplement Appropriation Act, which will assist us in funding $138,988 for salaries and benefits within the streets division. I had requested for our 4 permanent part-timers to be reclassified as full-time, but again, this division doesn't get general fund funding, so unfortunately, the funding that we're getting from the gas tax is lower, and I was not able to request the permanent part-time positions to be reclassified, unless if city council would like to have those funds through the general fund, which I believe was about 200 to 250. So for fiscal year 22-23, I am requesting a budget adjustment request, and this is only for our general fund, for Public Works Admin, Fleet, Park, Facilities, which total up to $871,705. Our airport is designated as International Civil Aviation Organization, Calexico International Airport. It is open 7 days a week, 8 to 5, and after hours upon request. And we also have customs there at the airport. The airport currently just has our utility services coordinator, and we were able to include in budget for 22-23 2 permanent part-time fuel linemen. That is much needed because right now we've been having on-site employment provide those positions, and it's been really hard to keep the employees. Also to do recruitment, if an employee leaves, it's really hard for us to fill that position as soon as possible, and our fuel linemen need to be trained and certified before they can fuel an aircraft. The budget for the Calexico International Airport for fiscal year 22-23 is $392,964, and this is all for the revenues received. This department doesn't use any type of general fund. It's an enterprise. It's considered an enterprise. Again, we provide water treatment, water for the whole city within city limits through our water treatment plant and then our water distribution. For our water treatment plant, we have we have our water system supervisor, and then we have one vacant chief operator, and then we have one grade 4, which is their lead operator. And then we have 5 water treatment plant operator grade 3, one water treatment plant operator grade 3 in training, 3 laborers. And for fiscal year 22-23, I am requesting to reclassify one of our laborers to a heavy equipment operator. For our distribution as well, we have our water system supervisor who oversees the water plant as well as the distribution. We have a vacant water distribution lead. We have 2 water distribution operators grade 2, 3 water distribution operators grade 1. And right now we have 1 meter reader, but for fiscal year 22-23, we're requesting an additional water meter reader that will help us, to do rereads and shutoffs. For both the water treatment and the water distribution, our budget is $6.7 million. For the wastewater treatment plant and the collection system, of course, we provide collection and treatment system for all residents, commercials, and businesses within city of Calexico. Our pipelines range from 6-inch to 30-inch diameter, and our wastewater treatment plant is located over by 2nd Street near the airport. For our wastewater treatment plant, we have a wastewater system supervisor who oversees both the wastewater treatment plant as well as the wastewater collection. For fiscal year 22-23, we have 1 wastewater treatment plant operator grade 3, 3 wastewater treatment plant operators grade 2, 1 lab technician, 1 maintenance worker, 2 laborers, and we've also included in this budget 1 pre-treatment coordinator that will help us out with education, as well as going out to businesses and making sure that they don't put the oil in the sewer lines, that they take the proper precautions as per our Muni code. And then also I am requested that one of our laborers be reclassified as a heavy equipment operator. Our collection crew is much smaller, which is, again, our water systems supervisor. And then we have 2 wastewater collection operators. And then I also have 1 electrician that is vacant. Hopefully, once the budget is approved, I can start recruiting for that position because it is much needed. Our lift stations require electrical work to be done. The budget for both the wastewater treatment and collection for fiscal year 22-23 is $4,378,000. As I mentioned, we do approximately 90% of the CIPs for the city. For our street department and transportation project alone, we are overseeing the 2nd Street Bridge widening, Cole Boulevard between ML King and Bowker. We were able to get $1.6 million to resurface the street, which is much needed. Also, we are currently working on the street overlay project that we estimated to be $4.6 million. Then we also have upcoming Scaroni Road improvements. We also are going to be replacing several, or not replacing, but adding several sidewalks on Grant Street, Calexico Street, and Vandergraaf. We're also working right now on the right-of-way for Wrigley Road improvements. And that, we have a major project that we're currently going to start, which is our 2nd Street All-American Canal that has been closed since, I believe it's January of this year. Then we also have, we are going to be able to purchase some bus shelters for locations. I believe Ms. Fernandez asked in front of Denny's several city council meetings, so we're working in that project right now. And also our taxiway rehab project that is currently in construction is a $4.2 million. So just the CIPs alone for streets and transportation is $20 million for fiscal year 22-23. General governments, we're working on the Rockwood Promenade project, which I spoke to council last week during our city council meeting. We also have some more park improvements to all parks as well as Cordova Park. Also, City Hall needs some improvements. We're also requesting purchases of vehicles, as I mentioned, for parks, street fleet. Also, our Heber Park expansion project, our New River project, Calexico Reach, which bid opening is June the 28th at 2 p.m. So we hopefully can come in with the budget of the $28 million. We also have to replace the playground at Community Center. Also do some downtown parking lot improvements, resurfacing. They're much needed in the downtown area, as well as the possibility of demolishing 2 of the buildings on the 300 block of Cesar Chavez, where the old tortas and beers used to be. They're constantly being vandalized. Staff puts the plywood, and in less than a day, it's all gone. So we really need to demolish those because it's a safety concern. So for the general government, it's a budget of $37 million. For our wastewater treatment and distribution, we have several projects on the works. We need a new clarifier. We also need to improve our raw water reservoir that is located over by V.V. Williams. We need to upgrade pumps and equipment. So just for the water treatment plant, our budget is $14,742,000. For our wastewater, of course, we also need to upgrade the improvements, but one of the big projects is expanding our wastewater treatment plant. It's a $30 million project. You see only $15 million here because it's a multi-year project, so we needed to break it down. So for fiscal year 22-23, we're also going to be requesting several equipment to replace. So there's a total of $29,968,000. So in essence, for the Public Works Department, our CIP alone is $102,764,024 And just want to thank all the public works staff. They work, they give 110% of themselves. They work when it's 60 degrees to 120 degrees. Our water plant is open 24/7, so there's always an operator there. So we don't recognize them as much, but I think we should because, as again, they give 110% of themselves. And I'm here if you have any questions.
I don't have any questions. Thank you.
No, just the, again, thank you for providing this report and the ask, the needs also. I think this is no secret, in what all of you do. Whether it's working, like you said, in extreme temperatures, just like a couple of weeks ago, in 120 degrees, while putting, the sidewalk over by the new fire station one, that was quite a undertaking. My hats off to staff in all of them. So I know we owe it to them and to the citizens. So, but thank you for providing this comprehensive presentation. So appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I
Thank you.
do have a question. Switch to hypochlorite.
Yes, it's part of our CIP project. What we need to do is get a engineer that can assist us because we have to prepare a plan. And then once that we have that plan prepared, we have to go before the State Water Board for its approval, and then we can go through the change. But first, right now, I have to get an engineer on board to assist us with working out on that plan.
And this is very much needed. All right.
Yes, it is, because if something were to happen, for example, right now, when we have this, the chlorine cylinders, if, God forbid, something were to happen, we would have to evacuate. I think it's like a 3-mile radius within our water treatment plant, which will affect a lot of homes, which will also affect a lot of businesses because we have the Gran Plaza to the south, and then we have all the businesses towards the downtown area. So it is needed. We are working on it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Chief Favila, you're next.
When are we gonna open our new fire station?
Yeah, that's just around the corner, for sure. So I know we started the summer already, but the guys should be in there at midsummer for sure.
Next summer.
Yeah, by next summer, yeah. All right, Diego Favila, Fire Chief for the Calexico Fire Department. Start off here with a picture of your current personnel that you have here at the fire department. And right there, you're looking at 23 individuals. That's not counting myself, my executive assistant, or your fire inspector. 23 there. The very next slide, you have the fire department in the 50s, and you're looking at 14 people there. So as you can see, we have not increased by much. Start off this presentation with a copy of the important items on your strategic plan. The strategic plan was developed to be the roadmap for this city. This was supposed to be your guide for this city when making your decisions, to listen to the community and what they were asking for. We sent out a document to the citizens asking, hey, what are your priorities? What do you feel that the city is lacking? What does it need? And what's most important to you, and what are you satisfied with? You guys have a very hard decisions to make right now. You can see all of the staff is short, and it's a miracle how we're pulling things off. You guys are gonna have to prioritize. And one of the things that I can suggest for you to use as a guide is a strategic plan. It's developed to move us to the next step within the 5 years. On top of that, when you have public safety, fire department, right now we're currently at 23, we're supposed to be at 30. We're back in the 90s, 1990 staffing numbers, and we're in 2020. It's 20-something years, we're not moving forward. I can say the same thing for the police department. So just going off of this strategic plan here, is saying that the community's focus at the time, the most important is for public safety. On the satisfaction part, they highlighted the fire department, our library. I mean, they're so good that we even have people from other cities saying they're awesome. So I appreciate that. Thank you. The next one here is just incidents for the Calexico Fire Department, what we had in 2016 all the way to 2021. And what I'm trying to show here in this slide is the increase of our call volume throughout the year. It's going up, and I can say the same thing for the police department. As the call volume increases, our staffing decreases. Right now on this one here is just a quick numbers. Our A shift has a total of 9 people. We're supposed to have 10. Blue shift has 8. We need 10. And green shift has 8, and we also need 10. So our long-term goal here is to be at 1.5 firefighters per 1,000. I think it's the same thing for the police department. You're supposed to have 1.5 police officers per every resident of Calexico, so that would be a total of 60. That's what we're supposed to be at today. Obviously, we're short of that goal, but we're working toward that one. So my ask here is to hire additional firefighters, right? We need a total of 5, and we understand that asking for 5 is very expensive, and at this moment it's probably unrealistic, just going off of our budget. So the ask for this year is to at least get us halfway there. We're asking to add 1 additional firefighter per every shift, so the total would be 3. These are the firefighters that you see running out in the streets, responding to calls, medical aids, all these fires. And the most important thing to remember on this one is you have 3 shifts. You have 2 fire stations. Right now, for the past year, your Station 2 on the west side, which is your citizens of Calexico on the west side, right now have only been getting 2 members of the fire department providing security or protection on that side. Why is that? Because we're down that 1 firefighter, right? So they get 2 firefighters on the west side. If you if you grant them the additional 3, they'll have their 3 firefighters on the west side. Fire Station 2 is our other ask. Kind of embarrassed, and I didn't even want to put up any of the pictures because I know we've all been there. We've seen this stuff that needs to get upgraded, and the ask is for repairs at Station 2, the roof, the mold, the kitchen, the lighting, the floor. It kind of goes just like every other department here asking for needs, right? The only difference between the departments is our guys are living there 24 hours. So it's 24 hours that they're there. Because of staffing levels were low, these people are there more than 24 hours. It's very common for us to be 3 and 4 days straight there. Being 3 days and 4 days straight in a facility that has mold, leaky roofs, electrical issues, that's not good for employee morale, right? And at the end of the day, if you have bad employee morale, then it's a customer service issue. So it's just a domino effect on how something so simple can affect our system. On this one, the other ask is for training. Time's evolving. We're having a bunch of different topics pop off. And if you've noticed, and if you go back to our last 3 budgets, there was never a training allocation for the fire department. We got one last year, and it was for $5,000. $5,000 for the 24 or 23 firefighters that you have there. $5,000 covers about maybe 2 to 3 people, and that's it. You're done, because you're talking about hotel, traveling, and then the expense of the class. We're asking to increase the budget on training for that one. Because currently right now, all your fire personnel are paying for these classes out of their own pocket. and that's a misservice on us that we're not providing these people or our men the training that they need and are required to have. One of the other requests is for miscellaneous equipment. Some of this will be taken care of in our ARPA that we have allocated. And some of that stuff that I'm talking about here is a bulletproof vest. That we see these active shooters, incidents are increasing. We got to make sure that we're prepared and we're protected to help the community, but not only that, to be able to work side by side with the police officers in the event that they get sick or hurt, injured. We're looking at very basic stuff here. You're looking at fire helmets. You're looking at OSHA requirement PPE. You're talking about the turnout codes. They're talking about their boots, their pants. Very simple stuff that shouldn't even be on this list. But unfortunately, for many years, we've been put on aside, and we need to address that one. Our handheld radios will be obsolete at the end of this year. Vehicle extrication equipment hasn't been replaced since the 90s, and we've seen the increase of vehicles, the way they're making them, the technology, the equipment that we have right now won't hit any of the vehicles that are over 2020s. Self-contained breathing apparatuses are the tanks that we wear on the back that allow us to breathe inside these fires, and thermal imaging cameras. So in conclusion, you have a bunch of tough decisions. You need to go back and look at all the other departments and what their needs are. You got to know that we need to work together, set a plan, take little bites at a time. Keep in mind the community's best interest in mind for sure. Make sure that we're taking care of employee safety and risk management. And that's not just for the fire department. That goes for every other department as well.
That's true.
We're already asking them to work shorthanded, and then we're not providing them the equipment, and we're not providing them the training, and we're expecting a lot out of them. So I'll leave you with that, and that's it. I'll take any questions if you have any.
Chief, I think you summarized that the whole thing at the end, so tough decisions, priorities also. At this time, I don't think the priorities are needs that we have to meet in order to continue to operate and offer services to the citizens while, maintaining, safety and, service at the level that, we should be providing to the citizens and we should be offering to you as a city employee. So, but I do thank all the departments, for preparing these comprehensive, presentations. And of course, now is a tough decision. I wish that we could grant them all, but I think
one thing that would probably help is my ask to you guys, and I'm pretty sure most of the staff here would be on the same page, is the ask is to revisit the distribution of our ARPA funds.
Yeah.
I think if we visit that again, a lot of the requests my fellow colleagues here are asking for could be taken care of. If you look at the way the ARPA funds are set up right now, there's a bunch of needs, but we're not working off this strategic plan. We're giving $3 million to a downtown. Out of that $3 million, I can probably assume that you would be able to fix the roof at the library, the roof at the recreations. You probably say that you can fix all their lighting. At the PD, you can fix their, revamp the police department with just the basics. Public Works could probably get all of their equipment that they need. The fire department could also get that equipment they need. Basically, every department can get something out of that. So my request to you would be to revisit the ARPA funds and see if we can't find some money in there to help out not just the fire department, but all the other departments as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
So I'm going to say something real quick, and I'll leave anybody else here say something. So as a proposed future agenda item, I want this. I want to have a special meeting for Monday.
Monday?
The 27th.
I think on the, should be the 27th, right? And I want to say we have a
27th?
meeting.
Huh? A special meeting.
Yeah, we have the special meeting, huh?
Special
Yeah,
meeting.
for this purpose.
Okay.
For discussion and potential action, well, actually discussion and action for a continued resolution. It doesn't appear to me, based on everything we have, we're gonna be able to sign the budget. It's not even come close. This is something that the city manager should be working. I mean, no pun intended to you, Mr.
No, I'll make sure I tell them.
Hopefully the new city manager comes in, and hopefully we'll even have a finance director. This, to avoid all this, a city manager should be working with the finance director, meeting with all department heads, and then bringing the proposal. Like what we said, where are we gonna get the money?
Right.
Especially that city council meeting, 3% at 8% inflation, and we're going to a recession. Yeah, we need all that, but where are you gonna get the money? You need to come out with ideas where we have the money. I have no problem approving it, but where's the money?
Right.
Okay, so we're gonna be talking through it, and so the continuing resolution is gonna get us through July 31st, based on the budget we're using right now. So with all the, and then any and all capital expenditures, changes that have to come through our board, have to come to city council. We need to talk about that.
Right.
If they need approval on something, we need to approve that, because we can't just keep on spending.
Yeah, if you look at the budget presented to you last week, pretty much every department gets a capital improvement project there. If you were just to authorize it the way it is today, most departments would get something. As far as personnel, they probably wouldn't be looking at personnel. But as far as maintenance stuff to the development, I mean, to their businesses, the equipment, some of that stuff will get taken care of. The rest is the tough decision that you're going to have to make.
Yeah,
on where that's-
absolutely. So
where is that money going?
Continue resolution for Monday. We'll talk about it, and
Yeah.
please set it up for Monday.
For sure, and that's kind of why I'm alluding to the ARPA funds, because we're going to use general fund money to buy some of the equipment, like for example, the officers, right? They need new bullets, they need new guns. Instead of taking that money from the general fund, we could relook at the ARPA funds and possibly use that to make the change in the savings. So,
That's all I have to say.
okay, thank you.
Mayor?
Yes, I echo. Okay, thank you so much to all for your presentations. We must remember that we already have a budget proposal on the table. This is the proposal, this is the budget. This budget will be carefully reviewed and really appreciated hearing from you, and I understand that we have little money, but we are now about to have a new administrator in July 6th. We are studying the way to have more personnel in some departments, but these presentations, your presentation will help us a lot. The grants we have applied for will help us as well. The city needs more business and investment in construction, and we also need to lower taxes and licencias. For our citizens, we need them to pay less for water, Lily. The city, for the citizens, ARPA money will help a lot too. The truth is that what helps us the most is you, because you always work with passions. Thank you for your time. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Garcia?
No.
Again, I just want to echo, overall now, to all the departments, we're taking the time. I know that, there's a lot of needs, like I've been telling you, these are not even wants, these are needs. But, we need to be very, very honest and sincere as to, where do we go in how do we manage our resources. I know that, we're talking about ARPA, and I know that the community, express their support for certain projects, which, I understand that. But, this is, one of the things that I was looking at investing, those funds. I know those are one-time monies, but I think, those one-time monies can help us address some of the badly needed, issues or needs that we have, whether it's fixing, the infrastructure, for any department, without pointing to any specifics, so that way you don't think that, we're prioritizing one versus the other. I think, we need to make sure that we respond. We need to make sure that we respond to everyone, every single citizen in Calexico, whether it's in the east side, the west side. It shouldn't be we shouldn't be looking at the location of the city. We should be looking at Calexico. And I think, yes, we want to revitalize downtown. We want to address, some of the social issues that's a huge need also. But then we have all these immediate needs that have been there for years too. It have become an issue of safety, an issue of just being able to, provide the services from our, equipment that has gone beyond their lifetime of usage. Where we're patching, where we're spending, like I said also last week, where we're spending more on repairing it rather than maybe even acquiring new equipment, where it will save. So we really need to be proactive. We really need to be a little bit more common sense driven also. We really need to look at, where are we bleeding, some of our much needed resources. I pointed out to one of the items where it historically has been a very high ticket, item on our budget. And I understand that, we have a lot of challenges and we had a lot of needs for those services. But we need to make sure that, we start bringing those costs under control. Because, again, without having the final number on that specific item, I think we're really high up there. Legal services, and amongst other things. So we really need to look at those things also, how we're spending our monies, how we're prioritizing, and we need to make sure, just like when we ask for input from the citizens, I think this is the time where, they also can have input and should have input and should be, sending in their input. Because at the end of the day, those are the ones that say, well, you know what? I can't believe we only have two police officers covering our city. I can't believe that we don't have enough, firefighters, responding to our calls. I can't believe that they're not taking my call because they don't do a police report. I can't believe that you guys haven't had, services for senior citizens for the last, I don't know how many years. And our parks are really, patches of dirt, in brown, pieces of grass. So that's where we need to invest our resources. I know we need to address the social issues that affect also our community. But I think by addressing also this, that will also help alleviate some of those social issues. If we invest in our recreation, where people can go and spend some time, when we invest in our fire and safety, where they know that there's, sure and secure and safe. If we invest in our parks, when they can go into a green area or at least a safe area, when they come over here and they feel that, their answers are being, their questions are being answered in a courteous and respectful manner. And I think I just quoted our city, mission statement. Thank you. Without really even thinking, but I think that's the priority here. And we actually got it from 400 people when we asked for their feedback. So I think, that the direction was given way back. So we just need to get back to that and make sure that we prioritize, make sure that we use resources, whether it's one time, and then continue to invest and make sure that we can sustain, the services. We know what we need to do, but, let's be strategic and let's be smart about making these decisions. And I do thank you for the time to prepare these presentations, and, so hopefully we can get back to you with some of these needs and continue to help us out. So thank you, I appreciate your time.
Mayor, could I speak?
Yes.
Okay. I also want to thank everybody for being here and all your hard work. And like Lily said, everybody has put in more than 100%. And me, I'm a person that could really say that I have seen all your hard work, especially through COVID. And it's a tough decision. We have to, you have 5 people up here that's going to have to decide where the money's going to go. But we have to prioritize, and we have to make sure that we cover our most necessary needs. And with that, I want to thank you.
Thank you. So before we wrap it up, we want to have a couple of, actually 3 speakers. Sean Acuna, Michael Gonzalez, and then Griselda? Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, distinguished members of the council. I'm Sean Acuna, representing the Calexico Police Officers Association. And I just want to emphasize, everybody has important needs throughout the city. I don't want to underscore that or undermine that in any way. But why it's so essential for these 6 positions right now for the police department are as follows. Number 1, by putting at least 2 detectives in investigations, we're currently right now working on a memorandum of understanding with the U.S. Border Patrol. Tentatively, they're offering to provide us with 2 Border Patrol agents. So that would not only increase our investigations unit to 2 detectives, but 4, okay? They'd work side by side. They have done this in the past. We did this back in 2015, 2016. Worked out very, very, very well. Why is that important to have 2 Border Patrol agents assigned to the Calexico Police Department's investigations unit? Well, very simply, we have more backup. We work with the Border Patrol every single day. Every single day. They back us up. We back them up. And by having 2 Border Patrol assigned to our investigations unit, it's at no cost to the city. All their overtime, everything is paid through Border Patrol, not the city of Calexico. And then we have the whole apparatus of the Border Patrol. Not constantly, but we occasionally use their BORTAC unit, which is their SWAT team. We've already had a couple barricaded suspect situations here in Calexico where we've had to call upon them. And we're right now in the process of assembling a SWAT team here in Calexico, and we are going to be cross-training with the United States Border Patrol, so we have the similar tactics when we engage or confront these types of situations. So this is just an enhancement that we have this resource available. And the other thing why it's important to hire the 2 SROs is because you're going to get 4 positions for the price of 2. Tentatively, the Calexico School District has told us that they are in need of 2 SRO positions that they're willing to fund. When they fund those positions, that allows the city of Calexico to hire 2 officers to backfill those positions. So you're getting 4 for the price of 2. That's why it's so important. If we could just make this happen, it's a tall order. Okay, everybody's short. Fire department, every department here is short. But we are really critically short because we don't even have an investigations unit. We just had a homicide 2 weeks ago on Wednesday, and let me tell you, our department did outstanding. Okay, from the officers that received the initial call, they actually contacted the 3 suspects within minutes of the shots fired call. Because of that, they had them identified as to who they were, and as the case evolved, through video footage, we were able to identify the suspects, not only identify the suspects, but serve a search warrant where we recovered the suspected murder weapons. There were 2 weapons that were used in this case. And less than 48 hours, we were able to arrest 2 of the 3 suspects, and we have a $1 million warrant on the 3rd suspect that is currently, we believe, is hiding in Mexicali. So How were we able to do this? Well, in fact, all the sergeants at Calexico PD were all former detectives at one point. So they all have investigative experience. They've all done search warrants. And some of the patrol officers also have investigative experience. So like Chief Serrano was saying, when we have a critical incident, yes, the patrol officer will work on it that day and the days that he works, but they're also going to be required to come in on their day off to do that follow-up that's required. And so that's how we've been getting by. Very arduous, but the dedicated men and women of Calexico PD are extremely hardworking, and they want to accomplish the mission. So if you could just, I know it was presented, our chief didn't have a lot of time, 10 minutes to go over a lot of information, but we just want to reemphasize why it's so important for these 6 positions, because we can make a lot of things happen without a minimal amount of people that would be brought on. And that's it.
Thank you, Sergeant.
Thank you.
Griselda.
Good afternoon, members of City Council. I'm here supporting the Calexico Police Department on behalf of Calexico POA. As Chief Serrano mentioned, there are 7 dispatchers and 1 dispatch supervisor. However, it's not enough. We need 2 more dispatchers. We also dispatch for the fire department, however, we are not in their budget. When dispatchers are out sick or in training, we end up working over and on our days off, and or staying over doing 16-hour shifts, sometimes working 7 to 8 days straight without a day off. But we are able to because we have to cover each other. We have to assist. We can't leave a position on its own. This causes us to be mentally burned out. Our mental health is also at risk. Our staffing levels aren't increased. If our staffing levels aren't increased, more importantly, the police officers, fire personnel, and citizens of Calexico could be placed in danger if public safety isn't prioritized. Please support the police department's budget. A city without public safety is not sustainable. We really need your support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, members of the council and the public listening. Just to piggyback off what my partner said and what Interim Chief Serrano said, we are running on half a department technically according to the national standards. We have 19 officers and sergeants altogether responding to calls. In all reality, it's not 6 officers that we need, it's 15 to be up to the national standard. Like Sergeant Cunha said, in the last 2 weeks we've had 2 possible murders in the city, and it's taken countless overtime days off of officers coming in to work and be able to process the scene along with other agencies helping us out. Process the scene, working the search warrants, doing follow-up investigations, and writing these reports, which, like Interim Chief Serrano said, we do while responding to other calls. We don't just sit down and type a report from start to finish. We're responding to other calls, helping other members of the community, and then getting back to reports while we still have other reports pending from previous calls. As well as Chief Avila said, the survey put PD, fire, and medical services top 3. I know you guys are facing tough decisions up here, but like he said, we have to prioritize our needs for the city. Like Councilmember Garcia said, they're not wants, they're needs. They're absolute needs. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, see, we're done. I need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So move.
So moved by Mr. Garcia.
Second.
Second by Mr. Rola Fernandez. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, meeting adjourned.